Hi, I am Tiffany Henyard, and I am running for mayor of Dolton because I am sensitive to the needs of the village, and I firmly believe that government should be a body of trust. I pledge to fight the corruption in Dolton.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
I pledge to provide fair and effective services to all residents.
Yeah, you've probably heard of that old expression, you can't fight City Hall. Well, here in Dolton, you can't even get into City Hall, what you see back there. It's now on lockdown under its controversial mayor.
I pledge to make our village safe and supported by respectful law enforcement and first responders.
The Dolton Police Department afford to have this many officers attached to her detail?
We can. We really need them patrolling the streets.
I pledge to bring economic development and to get rid of boarded up houses and businesses.
So last night, police shut down 2 popular bars. One trustee says the reason? Because they're not financially supporting Dolton's mayor, Tiffany Henyard.
I pledge to care and to listen to your needs.
What happened when you tried to go upstairs to the board meeting?
The security guard won't let me up. He just stands at the bottom of the stairs like this.
For these reasons, I am asking for your trust and your vote. Thank you.
I'm gonna take you on a ride. We're gonna burn through the night. Why you're so salty? I'll still take a bite.
Okay, we can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show. You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
I'm gonna take you on a ride.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever you're doing, welcome. My name's Rex Jester, and I'm serious. Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dolton and supervisor of Thornton Township, Illinois, first captured our attention in November 2023 when allegations of potential corruption surfaced. This particular clip piqued our interest. When questioned about using taxpayers' money for a trip to Las Vegas, her responses and demeanor were notably suspicious.
Thornton Township taxpayers spent thousands of dollars on a trip to Las Vegas, where a shopping center conference was underway. Henyard and her allies spent thousands on everything from steak dinners to hotels and what appeared to be first-class airfare.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
Actually, we have a lot more questions, but neither Tiffany Henyard nor her advisor, Keith Freeman, responded to our request for comment. And the 2 governments they control have stopped releasing financial records requested by us under the Freedom of Information Act.
Intrigued by this, we delved deeper into her background and discovered a history rife with controversy. Here's a short video montage of Henyard's history leading up to the Las Vegas scandal of 2023.
Residents of South Suburban Dolton reacting to a Fox 32 investigation that found a new village employee with a dangerous criminal past.
He is a registered child offender, and he's now been hired by the village to go into people's homes and businesses.
Now,
trustees in South Suburban Dolton say 56% of voters want their mayor removed from office in a controversial recall vote.
But the mayor says the recall bid was badly flawed, and now she's suing to throw out the referendum.
The South Suburban politician spends taxpayer dollars on a march to Springfield to promote her personal charity. But when we started asking questions, the party's over.
The elected assessor for Thornton Township was locked out of her office today following a dispute with the township supervisor.
This was your office?
Yes.
What happened when you tried to open it?
It doesn't work.
That's right. Thornton Township Assessor Cassandra Elston got locked out of her own office, what appears she believes to be retaliation from Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard. Now, both are elected positions, and the assessor says the supervisor has no legal standing to take any action over her office. Elston has been critical of Henyard's actions, including massive spending, as we reported last week, using Township and Village of Dolton employees to benefit a charitable fund that she created last year. For the past 8 years, Darren Bosley has organized an annual car show here in the parking lot of Needles Park in Dolton. But after paying $1,000 to the Park District for this year's permit, Bosley got an unexpected call last Wednesday from Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's top assistant,
saying that the show would be shut down, but if I move my event to her location on Greenwood, that I would be fine.
Did you take that as a threat?
Yes, I took that as bullying.
Sure enough, when Bosley showed up at the park Saturday morning, he found that giant concrete barricades had been placed at the entrance, and Dolton police were threatening to tow any cars that parked there.
So she's the part-time mayor of a south suburban village of a little more than 20,000 people.
Yet residents of Dolton are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars per year to provide security for their self-proclaimed super mayor.
We see her being driven around and surrounded by Dolton officers, which got us to wondering why all the cops. Using a Freedom of Information request, we obtained the work records for 6 of the officers assigned to Henyard's security detail at various times. The officers are paid every 2 weeks, which without overtime is 80 hours. But when they're put on Henyard's detail, that 80 hours balloons to well over 100 hours, sometimes 200 hours. And in the case of Officer Terry Young last May, 303 hours worked over a 2-week period. That resulted in a single paycheck of more than $13,000.
How does a person put in a 2-week pay period, 303 hours? That's impossible. That's impossible.
336
Does he never go to sleep?
So that's just some of the antics prior to the Las Vegas trip. As you can see, this is absolutely crazy. Not just the fact that she's doing all of this, but she's blatantly not shy about it. So now we're at November of 2023. The Las Vegas story comes out. This is less than a year ago, and there has been controversy after controversy since. She's been in the news weekly, sometimes daily, and there's no sign of that dying down. Every week, it just seems to get crazier.
Okay, so if you've driven one of the expressways in the south suburbs recently, you've no doubt seen one of these giant billboards. They feature the name and the face of a smiling local politician. What you may not know is the money for these billboards is coming out of taxpayers' pockets, and that's raising questions for Tiffany Henyard, the Dolton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, who has already come under fire for spending public money promoting herself.
Henyard posted a message on her personal Facebook page earlier this week asking people to tune in to a live Facebook broadcast last evening for an announcement that she said could change their lives, a $1 million giveaway in honor of Black History Month. Well, it turns out the $1 million is part of the General Assistance Fund administered by Thornton Township, which is used for food pantries, senior services, and other social programs.
Politicians don't always like to hear from the public, but some South suburban residents say controversial supervisor and mayor Tiffany Henyard has gone too far.
Yeah, they say she took extraordinary, potentially illegal measures to prevent them from speaking at a public meeting.
Tell you about the Illinois Attorney General's office now ordering a charity run by Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard to stop soliciting donations. The charity, called Tiffany Henyard Cares, failed to register with the Attorney General's office or disclose how much money it raised and how the money is being spent.
And now we've learned from multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges. Is it coincidence or retaliation? Both of the Dolton bars that were raided and shut down last night, we visited the day before as part of our ongoing investigation into allegations of political corruption in Dolton.
They just rushed in here, put police at the front of the door like they was doing a raid on the drug house or something.
Motion passed for resolution number 24-002, calling for investigation of Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
The 4-trustee majority voting unanimously to call for an investigation into Henyard and what they say is the misuse of funds.
The Board of Trustees has repeatedly asked for financial information that we feel is entitled and has been denied that information. So we feel that we need to get intervention from somebody that can force this kind of action.
Dolton's controversial mayor, Tiffany Henyard, is resisting calls to look into her spending. At a village board meeting Monday night, the Dolton mayor vetoed a resolution passed by the board to investigate her spending. Last month, the board passed a resolution that required Henyard to turn in the village's financial records and called for an investigation by the FBI. Now, several Fox 32 reports have uncovered multiple allegations of corruption in her capacity as mayor and as Thornton Township supervisor.
South suburban mayors are urging their constituents to vote against a proposed property tax increase. That increase would put nearly $3 million in new spending in Tiffany Henyard's hands.
The referendum on next week's ballot says the money would go for mental health services, but the mayors say they have no idea where it's going. Fox 32.
Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like.
You know what happened in Vegas. You know what happened. And you should be addressing it, saying something to the residents about it.
I have cancer. Of course I do. Tiffany stole money from a cancer foundation. How dare you? How dare you steal? And I helped you with your campaign. How dare you steal from us? I had to buy my wigs. Are you going to reimburse me for the wigs that I've been spending my money on?
And they say that you're the worst mayor in America. I agree.
Now, just a quick note here. What they're referring to are allegations against Andrew Holmes for assault against another council member during that trip we talked about before in Las Vegas. We'll cover that in another episode because there's still so much more to go through.
Why people can't come in there? Now, let me tell you about that. This is a government building. I know y'all know this is a government building, right?
This cell phone video recorded by an angry resident last week who discovered that the door to Village Hall in Dolton is now locked. Now, this signal of exclusion only got amplified last night when about 25 Dolton residents were refused entry to the village board meeting. 4 of the trustees then canceled the meeting by walking out, saying there was ample room for the crowd and refusing their entry is a violation of the Illinois Open Meetings Act. The law firm representing Henyard and the village of Dolton in a slew of lawsuits is asking to withdraw from those cases. The Delgado Law Group says it's not being paid, so it'll stop appearing in federal and state court and defending Dolton and Henyard in 22 different lawsuits. In a letter to Henyard and trustees obtained by Fox 32, the law firm says the village is facing millions of dollars in judgments from earlier cases and could potentially be on the hook for millions more in the current lawsuits, and says the village is quickly approaching the point of becoming uninsurable. Fox 32 has obtained copies of the 2 federal subpoenas served on Thornton Township on Friday. And there are 2 big takeaways. Tiffany Henyard is clearly a target of the criminal investigation, and that investigation is growing.
Overall, it tells me that the investigation is expanding. It's not just focusing on the city of Dolton.
Dawn and Scott, that showdown is continuing outside of Dolton Village Hall. Trustees voted 4-2 to override Mayor Henyard's veto and reinstate Mayor Lori Lightfoot's investigation into Henyard's spending into that 2023 trip to Las Vegas. And as you mentioned, soon after that vote, things just broke down into utter chaos. Multiple sides shouting obscenities at each other. Cops had to step in and break it up. This is right after Henyard and her allies tried to block Lightfoot from getting up and making some brief remarks. Eventually, Lightfoot got her mic turned on, and here's a little bit of what she had to say.
Thank you. What I will say is that it's an honor to be working on behalf of the residents of Dolton. We have not arrested one of them.
You was once a mayor too. You should not even be disrespectful like that. That's sad. Clear the room. Clear the room, guys. This means that
Now, you have to believe me when I say that that's not all of it. These stories were probably some of the more important stories to this entire tale of terror. Some people would say this could be a book. I would say it's more like a trilogy. There's even a story that just came out today that I guess I'll link in the description below about 3 out of 4 promoted police officers actually failed their exams, but Henyard promoted them with raises despite that. So, what do you think about this absolute crap show? How much longer can this go on? And most importantly, can Dolton and Thornton Township survive this titanic ride of governance? Hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's quite a bit longer than we intended. Hope to see you again on I'm Serious Productions.
Can't stop.
Any other questions?